We thought we'd roll out a once-in-a-lifetime business opportunity. Music.
Inter.
Worldwide.
Inter.
Worldwide.
Ciao, buongiorno a tutti ragazzi. Un saluto di Inter Worldwide. Thank you for joining us for another podcast, something like episode 55, 56 off the top of my head. Bruno is joining us from the ever so sunny Gregory Hills. What's happening, bro?
Beautiful and rain, nice and wet today, and you know what? They're keeping the momentum going. I was nice and wet after that Genoa performance.
Nice. Alessandro is joining us from the San Siro. We don't know how he got in there, but man's got skills. What's going on, man?
Shh, don't tell anybody I'm here, but yes, as you can see, I'm at San Siro, finally.
Awesome. And it's also awesome to put a face to the name for anybody who's been listening to our podcast for a while for Alessandro's on-cam debut. So what a place to do it. He debuts at the San Siro. Incredible.
Yeah, I was actually thinking to do like Inler. I don't know if you remember where De Laurentiis presented Inler, and they have like the tiger mask, and then they revealed and stuff. But I don't have a tiger mask, so that's it.
All right, man. Let's jump straight into the podcast. We've got a few things to cover. Fiorentina, we dropped points, but the game, even though it was only about a week ago, it feels like it was, a good 3 weeks ago because this season has moved so fast post-COVID. So it was a match where we failed to take our chances in the first half, and Romelu Lukaku had a poor game, which he later made up for it against Genoa, which we'll go into soon. So I'll start with Alessandro. What did you think of the match against Fiorentina, and is it one of the fixtures that you're like ruining and regretting as much as the Bologna and Sassuolo game?
Well, it was really frustrating, first of all, and it was one of the matches where we just keep hitting the goalkeeper, and there is no way for us to score. We can play another 180 minutes, another 4 hours in a row, and there was no way for us to score. So that's one of those games where the goalkeeper is just a wall, and there is nothing we can do, and that's super frustrating because honestly, I think we deserve the 3 points, and other games where we didn't deserve the 3 points, we got away with it, and in this game we didn't, and there is some regrets, but after all, we already qualified for Champions League. That was the main objective of this season, and so what do you want to do from now on? Whatever we get is just the cherry on the top. But
Yeah, I would agree. Bruno, what did you think of the match against Fiorentina?
Oh, look, we played extremely well. We always seem to have a team where we'll play, and I remember first time round we also dropped 2 points and had the draw against them in a very late equaliser. This game we were a bit unlucky. Our players, Lukaku could have hit the target a couple of times, but what can you do? Look, at the end of the day, it will play a massive part in prize money, depending on if we finish second, third, or fourth. But overall, look, I can't complain with a draw. We got a point. A point's a point at the end of the day, better than no points. We still do hold the least losses in the Serie A at the moment, but then we've got a staggering 10 draws to counter that. But let's leave that in the past. And Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, it was just one of those days where you kind of knew Inter was going to limp over the line because we had that draw with Roma. I don't think the squad collectively turned it around quick enough, but we come up against Genoa and, excuse my language, but they are shit. They are the easiest opponent Inter has had in the last 4 years. We've smashed something like 17 goals past these guys in like the last 4 or 5 fixtures. It's a game where I did not need to wake up at 3:15 in the morning for, Bruno. It was in the bag. And for the first time this season, my body clock didn't wake me up. It just let me sleep through it. Having watched the replay, it wasn't wrapped up as easy as the scoreline suggests, though. Typical Inter fashion, we take until very late into the game to kill it off. Usually we don't kill it off. And that's where I'm going to say at least there's that improvement that we did kill it off. Because last season under Spalletti, either we don't kill it off and we win 1-0, or worse than that, we concede with 5 minutes, 2 minutes, minus 7 seconds remaining on the clock. And it's terrible. So we did close it out in the end, and we've got some of these players that are really good off the bench. That's why I don't mind Valero sticking around for another year. You bring him on with 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, even less than that. He can do a job for you. We're starting to get a little bit of quality in the rotation, and that's only going to get better next season. So my takeaway from Genoa was that we've got Victor Moses playing very well on the right, but does he have a spot in next year's Inter? For me, for 10 to 12 million, he's a steal. But Hakimi is going to eat up most of the time on the right wing back, provided he stays injury-free, knock on wood, big time. But Candreva will always have a spot in this team under Conte. He's a workhorse, and he has been 3 levels more the player under Conte that he was under Spalletti. And I'd be more than happy for him to stay, provided he's not a starter. So does Moses have a place in this team next season? Probably not, because he's not great on the left. He doesn't have much experience there. Whereas your D'Ambrosios will stick around simply due to versatility. And yeah, that's about that for me. Alexis Sanchez, when he came on, was very good as well. We need to do everything we can to narrow him, to lock him down. Yeah, we'll talk about him soon. Bruno, you can start. Genoa win.
Look, it was a clinical match. Surprisingly, it was only 1-0 at half-time. But, overall, 2 late goals as well gave us the 3-0 win. What I loved about this game was we held the ball when we should have held the ball. It was very clinical and technical the way they played. They may not have dominated as per the result shows and as per you mentioned earlier, but they managed to hold the ball well, and their play from the back was phenomenal. An unfortunate event that did arise from that was Gagliardini will now miss the next match, which, I am a massive fan, but look, that's probably the one negative, and some will say it's a positive from the match. But overall, I think it was just a fantastic performance through and through, especially with the table being so tightly contested at the moment. It's been a long time since, a team has been so close to Juventus, so close to the end. And it's not just Inter that's up there, it's first to fourth. There's less than 10 points gap. So it's an entertaining season, and this is more of what we need to see in the Europa League coming up and in the 2020-2021 season. Ale, what did you take away from the Genoa fixture?
Well, as Anthony was saying, it was not so easy. And at one point in the second half, I thought we were gonna draw. Basically, I thought, okay, the team was just lowering the center back, and I thought that the Genoa was gonna score the draw, but luckily they didn't, and then we scored the 2. And all in all, if we were won like 1-0, probably was a better result, more just. But I take the other 2 goals. Don't get me wrong. And about Moses, going a little bit back, if we're able to extend the loan, that would be the ideal solution, because it can help for sure. And Candreva did play on the other wing in the past, so that could be another solution. And if we play 3 competition as we were supposed to, it's always good to have quality players on the bench. I think we're gonna have D'Ambrosio as well, but honestly, I don't think it's at the same quality as it was on the Spalletti. It covers a different role, a different position, and it was pretty good on the 4 in the back. It's not as good in the three defense or in the right wing position, and I don't know if it's just for the age or it's just a different um, something that Conte asked that it cannot do. But I mean, I love the guy. Not the biggest fan after this season. So I mean, it's another player like Ranocchia. Is part of this team, and it is part of the locker room at this point. But I don't think has the quality to bring this team to the higher level. You know, with having players like them, it keep the level at a mediocre. We need to do the jump and go to the next level, and Hakimi will do that, not Ambrosio.
Yeah, very, very well
But
said.
I would like just to say the last thing. We have two clean sheet with Ranocchia in the middle of the defense, and that's just amazing. I would have never imagined that. I mean, with Godin, Skriniar, De Vrij, nothing. With Ranocchia, Godin, and Ambrosio, clean sheet. I was like, all right, whatever.
That's mad. But that just proves, I mean, we've got that rotation. And next season, when we're playing in three competitions, maybe you want Ranocchia and D'Ambrosio to play that round of 16 Coppa Italia fixture, or you want them to play that fixture where we play a team that's coming in the bottom three, give them some minutes as well, just to keep that locker room. They're not the type of players that would ask for a salary bump, which makes it really easy on the books as well. It's a very low risk move. So, as I said about Candreva, provided they're not the first option and, even the second option in their case, I'm happy for players like this to stick around because I don't consider them deadwood. I still think that they have a role to play in a positive way. But yes, I agree. They definitely don't elevate into to the next level. Someone that is elevating into to the next level and needs to stick around is Alexis Sanchez. Manchester United originally were going to make things difficult for us. And a large part of that was because we are a potential rival in the Europa League. Well, they secured Champions League football qualification this morning, which means they are about to take the Europa League at least half as seriously as they were about to before. This could work in our favor in terms of the Alexis Sanchez negotiations. And I'm going to go to Bruno for this one because he'll cover it better than I will. But I think that Marotta, after we finish the domestic season, or maybe just before we finish the domestic season, is going to do something to see if Sanchez can play out the Europa League with us and extend the loan or make something permanent, Bruno.
Yeah, look, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and the loan was meant to cease at the conclusion of the Serie A season, and with Europa, Marotta will probably work his magic to the point where we may have to not play him if we do meet Manchester United in the final of the Europa, which if we do get that far, I'm sure we should do fine without that. But in saying that, when it comes to Alexis and redeeming him, 20 million, I don't like that price. It's a bit of a steep price, especially for the age of the player we're looking at here. But at the same time, I do remember Manchester United were one of the teams who were very keen on obtaining Ivan Perisic from us. And he's now going to be returning back to the club. Bayern Munich do not want to purchase him. So maybe we can utilize that in some form of a swap deal. I can see swap plus cash. But even straight swap, get Perisic off our books, get Alexis on our books. We've seen the magic Marotta can twist initially with the Lukaku purchase over 3 years, paying them. Then secondly, having Manchester United pay for 75% of Alexis's wage or thereabouts, whilst on loan to Inter is unheard of. So, look, I'm not too worried about it. At the end of the day, it's up to Conte and Marotta to see if Alexis is in the future of Inter. It's also up to Alexis. If he wants to be in the future of Inter, he needs to take some form of a pay cut. Not sure how steep he is willing to go. But if the reports are right, and he's saying to Conte and he's saying to news outlets that Conte and playing at Inter has made him fall in love with football again, I'm sure he's more than happy to drop his current wages to stay with the team that's made him fall in love with the game again. Ale, what do you think about Alexis redeeming, seeing how we go with that?
This guy. No, I mean, you explained it perfectly. The main problem, I think, is just the wage at this point, because Conte said they want the guy, and I doubt Manchester at this point wants the player for next season. So if they can find a trade solution with Perisic, that would be great. If they want just straight cash, I think Marotta will be able to do something. Probably not during the Europa League of this year, but for next season, it's definitely a player that we recover from the mist that he was into, and he wants to stay. He wants to stay. Conte wants to have the player. So I'm sure they will be able to find some kind of deal. But the main problem is the wage that he gets in Manchester United. We cannot pay that amount. I don't think even Lukaku is going anywhere close to that. And if you want to bring other players of that caliber, we need to balance the books before going crazy on Sanchez. And and you can see also that on the pitch every week now is screaming, every 3 days is screaming to other players, because I mean he's part of the team and he wants to bring the other players to the same level, which sometimes is hard.
He doesn't seem happy with his service a lot of the time, and he just doesn't think that the players are making the kind of footballing decisions that he would make. And, that's the kind of player that we need. And I'm really happy that we do have Alexis Sanchez, and I actually don't have many doubts that Marotta will organise something for us. And now the question really lands us on our other forward, Lautaro Martinez, who, goodness me, he's been given chances under Conte. It's not that he has been played in and out by Conte. Conte's given him all the minutes, pre-COVID, post-COVID. Lautaro, here, go, score against easy teams. He can't score a goal. His shots are poor. His dribbling is horrendous at the moment. He's in the kind of form where you'd really strongly consider bids of around the 50, 60 region, let alone 100, 110, whatever BS triple-digit million figures are coming at us. We would personally fly him to Barcelona ourselves at the moment. It's ridiculous. And if Barcelona are going to throw that level of cash at a player in Lautaro's form, I don't think we could say no to it, because I think of what we can do with cash like that and how far ahead it will put us on our books. It would just be, we already did cash in on Icardi. Whether or not you want to call it a loss, it's still a gain, in my opinion. To cash in on Lautaro for that magnitude, I've strongly come around to the idea. Bruno?
Oh, look, no doubt about it. He was under Spalletti. He was thrown in to the deep end. He was meant to be mentored by Icardi when they initially brought him in. And then with all the dramas that happened with Icardi and everything, he was thrown into the deep end. And he did step up, to say the least. And the first half of the season, he did perform quite well alongside Lukaku. And you know what? Players fall in and out of form. And I'm not sure if Martinez does fall into that category. A lot of it would have got into his head as well during COVID break, with all the rumors flying around. Barcelona are going to spend this much on an Inter player. And, him playing alongside Messi, the greatest in the world, all of that stuff. It plays a big factor, and it's a massive. When you get linked to moves like that, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of a big weight gets put onto your shoulders, because you feel you need to perform. And when Lukaku gave him that penalty, and he actually terribly missed it. You could just see that the pressure is getting to him and the expectation now, because he's been valued at this much, and Barcelona and the media has hyped him up to such a high level that it's become an expectation that he is a world-class player. And don't get me wrong, he's a great player. World-class, don't think so as of yet. But at the same time, he's still very young. He's still getting hairs on his chest. This kid, he's yet to show his best form as of yet. One day, yeah, he'll probably be valued around that if he keeps going down the path. But I just feel the media and the rumors have hyped him up to this point where Inter fans have become extremely critical of him. And when you're playing two strikers up front, one's going to shine a lot more than the other if they're getting the goals. And that's what's happening with Lukaku. Alexis, they say, oh, you bring Alexis on, he can score, but Martinez can't. They play two completely different games. And, I feel it's a bit unfair on Martinez as an individual. But, yeah, if we get that money, why not? Let's put him on a plane, send him there. Like you said, it'll help our books out. We'll be able to pay out, most of our debts owed to United, Cagliari for the Barella purchase, all of that stuff. But I just feel the pressure on the player is a bit much. And being so young, you can see this turning into a story where he just goes off the rails and rebels. But let's hope it doesn't happen that way. Let's hope if he does stay, he can find his form. But he's just gone through a bad spell. Ale, I'm not sure if you agree with me or not, but what's your opinion?
No, I completely agree, and it's worrying because if the pressure for games versus Fiorentina or Genoa is crushing the player, and where he cannot do a simple passage, he tried to do, not simple things. He's trying to show off, and it's just doing one mistake after the other. I cannot even imagine when the pressure is for a Champions League semi-final or some end of the season big game. He's still very young, and that's the tricky part. If it was 25, 26, if we were in the Icardi situation, there was no doubt just sell the guy, get the money, and run. But being so young, I think in the right situation with the right coach, he can be a great player. So I'm not with the guy every day. I don't know the guy personally. That's something that Marotta, the Conte need to decide. But from where I stand, I will say sell the guy because we kind of need to win next season something, and with the money that he can bring in, I'm sure Marotta can do something pretty cool and bring other striker, other player that can help the team. He was great at the beginning of the season, and honestly, I don't know what happened. I cannot believe the rumors about Barcelona completely destroy the guy. I cannot believe it. It must be something else. It must be, because how can you unlearn to play soccer like that in few months? Because it is honestly is doing stuff that not even I don't know. Serie D1 player does, like very basic mistakes. And if you want to go playing with the best player in the world, you cannot do stuff like that, no matter how much of a friend he is. But play like that with Messi, you lost 2 games, and then you go back to the bench. So that's my take.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, it's time to look ahead to Napoli, which is our next game in 2 days. Yeah, around about 2 days. So it's going to be a very tough match because Gattuso's got his team fired up pretty well. They're in good form, but they've secured the Europa League position. They've got nothing to play for. I'd say we've got more to play for than they do. Now, they haven't made the Europa League on the table. They're still seventh and only 1 point behind Milan, but they won the Coppa Italia, which means that they get automatic qualification to the Europa League. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a tricky one, in my opinion. They have a couple of players out I think it's Mertens. Yeah, Mertens is out for this one, which will definitely work in our favor because he's always a real threat against us. We need to win this if we want to come second. If we don't win this match, then Atalanta will most likely leapfrog us this weekend before the final fixture of the season. So I guess it's an investment to make sure that we don't come fourth. Lazio smacked Verona on the ass 5-1 today, so Lazio can still very much overtake us. I personally would still be gutted to see us come fourth. We would lose out on prize money, and it wouldn't feel like there was a drastic improvement from last season. And I know I'm wrong saying that because you should be looking at points attained and goals scored and goals against and all that much more evidence-based logistical data rather than just where you finish on the league table. But the reality is that I'd like to finish second. And I think Conte, despite what he says in the media about second being the first loser, would much rather finish second than finish fourth because he's an egomaniac. So that's just him. Anyway, I'm not too sure what's going to happen. I'm going to predict that we go in and play a really good first half. And then the second half is a little bit more one-sided. So I'll go 1-1. And it's not a result I'll be disappointed with, but I think it's that kind of game where we'll be left at the end saying, what if? Team-wise, for me, I'd start Alexis Sanchez. There is no reason to start Lautaro Martinez in this game that we must win, not even to protect the boys' confidence. I would start Sanchez next to Lukaku. I'm pretty sure Barella's going to be fit again for this one, which means that we should start him. Sensi is training for the squad, but if it was me, I would just keep Sensi on the bench for the rest of the season unless we make like the Europa League final or something like that, because otherwise he'll just take a knock and be out until 2024 or something. So I'll go 1-1, and that's about it for team news. Bring back a strong back three, which, contradicting what Ale said, would be Ranocchia, D'Ambrosio, or Godin, but I guess I'd start Skriniar and De Vrij for this one, bro. Bruno, you first.
Look, I think, we played Napoli. It feels like forever ago, but it's just over a month ago in the Coppa Italia semi-final where we played phenomenally and could not get away with the win. And it was just unfortunate, that result. But at the same time, like you said, Napoli, they've got nothing to play for at the moment because they've wrapped up the Europa League. But at the same time, they've also got Champions League to look forward to in the tough fixture against Barcelona. So you've got that as well. And if they want any chance of Champions League football next season, they're going to need to win the Champions League. I don't see it happening, but Gattuso is Gattuso, and him as a manager, I'm always scared to face. And we've seen it quite evidently every time we've come up against him. But yeah, look, Mertens is out. I do think Inter need to take this game to the sword. There's no way of leading 1-0 most of the game and getting away with a 1-0 win. I just feel Napoli will change their game plan way too much to custom and get that result. But overall, I feel like, you're saying 1-1. I'm a bit more optimistic. 2-0, 2-1. And yeah, like you said, Alexis to start. But with Gagliardini out, I'm sort of swaying to having Ericsson on the field and bringing Sensi on with 5-10 minutes to go, just to get him running around, get him feeling the ball again. Because look, the team has played phenomenally in the conditions that are post-COVID, a game every 3-4 days. And, you need as much rotation as possible. And you know what? Yeah, Getafe might not be the best of opponents, but you can't underestimate them. You can't underestimate any team. They're not in European competitions because they're a terrible team. They're not in European competitions because they're a walkover like let's say, Manchester United's opponents in the Austrian team that, the 4 letters, I don't know, or the LASK or something. But I just feel, you need to give Sensi a run. You need to get him on that ball again if there is any chance of us either buying him or extending that loan for another season. He'll probably end up re-signing with Sassuolo just to reinstate the purchase price. But, give Sensi a run. Have Ericsson on the pitch, Brozovic, Barella. I'd like to see Victor Moses start with Ashley Young. Baragi's played phenomenally, but I'd like to see Ashley Young, Victor Moses with Alexis and Lukaku up front, Premier League, and have Ericsson pushing up as well. I just feel we need to, we've wrapped up Champions League, but let's experiment a bit with Conte and see what's happening. The Fry, should we risk him? He's coming back from injury. Apparently he's fit. Don't want to see him on the field this game. I don't want to see him on the field against Atalanta, to say the least, because we've got Europa League. That's much more important than coming second's a great deal, but coming second and losing the fry for the Europa League, it's not really worth it. And we really want to win the Europa League to get into pot 1. Because right now, as it stands, even if Inter do finish second, we'll be in pot 4, which is not a position you want to be in, especially with the draws. We could be drawing Real Madrid, we could be drawing PSG, Barcelona, and Chelsea all in the same group. So let's try and win Europa League, get into pot 1. Ale, what do you think about the Napoli game?
You guys said it all. I think the next 2 games, hopefully we get 4 points. Most likely 2. I do believe Lazio is done, though. I mean, the 5-1 they got today was partially luck and partially referee, because some of the decisions it took were just, I don't know what they were watching. And it's not the only game. I think this season needs to end also for the referees, because they are making some nonsense calls every week, almost every game, and that needs to stop, for like penalties and VAR. Somebody goes to check and doesn't see anything. Somebody else doesn't even go to check. Doesn't make any sense. There was a rumors going around that basically, if the ref was called to double check and the VAR was changing their decision, the check will get some point the truck for that match in the statistic that the referee have, and so that's why a lot of time they don't change their mind. I hope is BS. I know in the Italian system probably is not, and that's just crazy. Crazy to me, because the VAR is there to help the referee, to help the game, and not to give a bad mark to a referee decision. Anyway, going back to the game. I wouldn't risk the Roy. So probably we'll see Ranocchi again. And then for the rest of the team, who knows? I mean, they're playing so much that honestly, everybody's is using Gagliardini as a scapegoat. But since we got back, he played every single game. And of course, you make some mistake. If you are there playing all the time, you make mistake. If you're on the bench, you don't make mistake, probably. So all in all, I think he is growing as a player. Of course, he is not best player that we have. He's not the best level, but I think, especially the last 2 games, he did pretty good. And not having Gagliardini versus Napoli probably can be a problem for us, because Brozovic is already on vacation. and Eriksen is not completely adjusted. And having the whole midfield on Barella against Napoli. Napoli has a pretty good midfield. So I think that's where the game is gonna be um, decided. And the last game is against Atalanta. It really depends if they win this game. Probably the next game they're gonna just rest for the Champions League game, and that could give us a possibility to get 3 points, even though Gasperini always hates to play against us. So, but we'll see. I mean, I hope to get 4 points and in the third position, if not second. But I doubt we're gonna be fourth. I honestly I doubt because Lazio is done.
Yeah, fair enough.
They do face Brescia
That's
this week, so just remember that. They've got Brescia
yeah, and
rated
they
6 plus, and
face.
they just
But what's the
and
They've
last
got
game?
Immobile has
Napoli.
the
They've got
goal.
Napoli in the last game. They've got Napoli in the
Yeah.
last game as well. But who knows? They might beat them because Napoli will still have something to play for. They'll still have Champions League anyway. So, meh, who knows? The last thing that I was going to say, not that I'd give it much attention, Juventus mathematically wrapped up the Scudetto this morning comprehensively. I was going to link it to a question that someone wrote in from our mate Stefan in Melbourne. He goes, "Are you boys worried that this season was the chance to dethrone Juventus, and do you think they'll come back stronger next season, or do you think that Sarri might leave and they will do a reset?" I don't like to talk too much about them at all on this podcast, but I'm happy to answer that question. I actually think they'll be better next season. I think that Sarri will get 2 or 3 of the signings that he wants, and you might see a little bit more fluidity. That's it. That's all I'll say. Ali.
I don't know. I mean, if you think of their season and the player they have, they're not getting any younger, and especially in the defense, they have what's the name of the volleyball player they have right there?
The
The
league.
young that's the guy. That's the only one they have, honestly, and because Bonucci is not keeping up. Chiellini, I mean, it's a great player, but the age is what it is. And so I don't know if Alessandro is gonna stay, but is in decline. And they are playing Quadrado on the right, and he's not even right back. So I don't know. The midfield is. I think they just got lucky this year, and we made a lot of mistakes. Lazio wasn't prepared to play every 3 games, so they got lucky, and it's gonna be hard for them to rebuild in this summer, especially for the condition we have. Very short transfer windows, a lot of games. Um, it's gonna be hard. So I think next year we see have a chance. Um, yeah.
Nice. I'm going to throw the second question over to Bruno. If you want, you can answer part of that first one as well. But the other one is actually from someone who didn't leave their name. I can see why. Messi to Inter, it's happening, yeah? I actually think it was one of my students. I don't know. But Bruno, you can answer that one.
Look, I'll answer the first one quickly. So Juventus, yeah, could have been our chance to beat them. Did I expect us to beat them this season? No. Conte had a brand new team and all of that. Will they get better next season? Well, any club, even if you're a winner, should always be improving. And you can already see that they're getting rid of Pjanic to Real Madrid. Barcelona, one of them, not paying attention. And they got Artur in already. So you can already see they're reinforcing their midfield. They did have a lot of problems, and they're going to come back better, and they're definitely going to try and push. And they're an appetizing club for players because they know they're going to try and win some form of silverware there, irrespective of what type of silverware. So they can pretty much lure anyone there that they want to. As for Messi, no, it's not going to happen. There he was apparently. His father, who is also his manager, did purchase a property in Milano, but there is no mention of him coming to the San Siro unless it's facing Inter in the Champions League. They won't be facing Milan in the Champions League because they're not in the Champions League. I love that. But yeah, so yeah, Messi to Inter, no. And even if it was a possibility economically for the club, yeah, it'd be fantastic. For the Serie A, it'd be amazing. And to make money, but it's a short-term fix for a long-term problem, and that's not what I want. As for Inter next season, I'm looking forward to a nice, beautiful transfer window where we do wrap up some pretty quick signings, get our players together, training, and definitely, yeah, we'll compete again. We'll definitely compete, and you'll see the likes of Lazio spending money this transfer window to make themselves better. They didn't buy anyone in the January transfer window because they only had to play one game a week. No one saw COVID coming in. I think they've done pretty well considering they've got hardly any players on their rotation. So overall, I think every team's going to be spending money to get better. And there's even rumours of Benevento having a nice kitty of cash to spend this transfer window as well, as they are returning to the Serie A. So it will be very interesting. And we'll be covering this in the short off-season we do have with our transfer talk, where a lot of it's bullshit, but some of it is pretty credible.
Maybe Messi is going to Benevento.
Yeah, Benevento, definitely. Love it.
That was nice. All right, plenty of content to come, plenty of games still to come. Feel like the season's over, but 3 fixtures, well, 3 in my mind. Let's get through Napoli, Atalanta, and get ready for Getafe. Bruno, thank you very much, bro.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. And let's face this Napoli team with all we got. Ale, as always, on the other side of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Going back to San Francisco now.
All right, man. From San Siro to San Francisco. Love it. All right. Ciao. Forza Inter worldwide.
Ciao.